Hello again from Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin, broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related politics, and self-defense issues. The Fired Up is on my website, Fired Up with Bob Irwin, as well as the American Guns and Glory Network, YouTube, and numerous other media. If your local internet provider doesn't carry Fired Up, ask them to do that. Just have them contact Rigel Studios in Las Vegas. A new show is posted every Thursday around 5 p.m. Pacific time. And the audio feed is the audio feed is rebroadcast for radio listeners on Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. Check out KELY1230.com for a station in your area of Nevada. If you have questions or comments, send me an email to bob@firedupmail.com. That's bob@firedupmail.com. Or leave a message on my office recorder, 702-257-1060. That is 702-257-1060. Until a voice comes on saying something, I don't answer the phone. So if you actually have a question, you got to say something and leave me contact information. I get all the same calls that all you other guys get from everybody selling real estate, used cars, and new computers, and you name it. You know, I'm on their list. So leave a message. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms each week in the United States, rarely truthfully or fully covered by the mainstream media. I always select a few for each show for my listeners' education. Mostly they're good shootings, some are questionable, sometimes they're bad shootings. But they're all educational for those of you who keep a defensive firearm in your home or carry one for self-defense in your vehicle or on the street. Individual incidents are generally adjudicated under local law. The advice given here may not apply in the area where you live. Advice from a local gun-savvy defense attorney is always recommended. Stories are often paraphrased for clarity by translation from police jargon, lawyer speak, or regional accents into more common American English. The incidents are as reported, but the names of the individuals involved are deleted. The identification of the cops, the lawyers, and the media are usually used in the show. So we go to the first story today is from the Yakima Herald, reported August 22nd, 2020 in Yakima County, Washington. A Yakima County Sheriff's Office received a call reporting that an unknown person or persons had forced open the door to a resident's home when he was asleep on his couch. This was on Friday morning. The 911 call was placed from the residence in the 900 block of Van Bell Road in unincorporated Yakima County just after 6 o'clock in the morning. The resident stated he woke up and yelled at two suspects in his hallway. One of the individuals replied with an expletive, and then both ran from the home. The homeowner attempted to disable their vehicle with a shot to the rear tire with his shotgun as the burglars were driving away. The resident described the vehicle as an early 2000s dark green Ford extended cab truck. The homeowner was able to describe one of the suspects as a white or Hispanic male, average height and average weight, with short dark hair covered with a blue baseball cap. Boy, they'll catch him right away with that description. It's about half the people in Yakima. The report shows no items were missing from the home or property, according to the resident. If you have information on this, please contact the Yakima County Sheriff's Office. They're at 509-574-2500, or call Crime Stoppers at 800-248-9980 if you have pertinent information about who these guys may have been. The comments on this one, regular listeners know what's coming. Firing at a fleeing vehicle is certainly something all victims of crime want to do. Beware of news reports out of Texas on this issue, as it's legal in that state. Virtually every other place in America, laws and case law consider firing toward a fleeing suspect to be unlawful. Here we have a property crime only at the moment of the shooting. When the perps were in the home and facing the shooter, the resident could make a case for self-defense. Once they're running to their car, that option is likely not valid. When they're in the car driving away, the shooting is clearly not valid. It's all in the timing. This is why citizens always need to have an attorney present before talking to anyone, particularly media and neighbors and, right? We got that part. Till you have an attorney present in a shooting, you don't know what all the rules are in your jurisdiction. Have an attorney present. Just politely say, I don't want to talk about this till I have a lawyer. And they'll say fine, and wait till you get a lawyer. This next story comes from KSDK TV5 on your side. Reporter named Kelsey Anderson reported August 20th, 2020, easy date to remember, in St. Louis, Missouri. A robbery happened around 11:35 a.m. at New Carey's Corner Market at 4500 Ashlone Avenue in the O'Fallon neighborhood. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department said a man entered the store, pointed a gun at two employees, and demanded money from the cash register. Straight up kind of guy. One of the victims, a 55-year-old male, was getting money out of the register. The other employee, a 46-year-old woman, pulled out her own gun and fired shots at the suspect. Police say then the suspect ran away. It is unclear if he was hit by the shots. He was able to get away with some money, but police did not give an estimate of the amount. Neither victim was injured during the robbery. The investigation is ongoing. Boy, the first thing I want to say is perfect. While the robber is concentrating on one employee, pointing his weapon at him and salivating over the cash, the second employee opens fire to protect him from harm. An absolutely valid defense of others' incident. That is not to say that the woman would not be charged with a crime in New York City or almost anywhere in California. Local law really matters. Get your training in firearms from a local firearms instructor and ask a lot of questions. These are almost always local jurisdiction cases. The rules are different everywhere in the country, county by county, neighborhoods by neighborhood sometimes. If it's a particular economic zone or some such thing your city or county is set up, the rules may be different for that 6-block area. Oh, maybe Portland's different than the rest of the country at the moment. Anyway, we're now going to pause for a word from some of our friends and associates. I'll be right back. Freestyle Martial Arts, located at Jones and Russell here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing. Chris Eifelt, the man who does all the NRA help, he's at 2216 South Rainbow Boulevard near Sahara. He can be reached at 702-365-1732. Once again, 702-365-1732. Jerry Creed, a trust attorney. If you have a firearms trust or need one, this is your guy. You can reach Jerry at 702-806-7777. That is 702-806-7777. CCW Maggie is found all over the internet. You can reach her by phone at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. All sorts of firearms training, ladies only classes. She is the best of the best. Call CCW Maggie. This is a reminder to all our listeners. Keystone Corporation, it's a conservative organization that I'm on their board of directors, is having their annual dinner on Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. The featured speaker is Karl Rove. It is at the Venetian Hotel. For information, you can visit online to www.keystonenevada.com and get all the information. Tables are available for groups, and Karl Rove is an amazing commentator. You don't want to miss this. It is going to be the conservative event of the year. And as promised, here I am again. Fox News 29 reported August 15, 2020, in Logan, Pennsylvania, authorities are investigating after a resident opened fire on a teenager and another man during an attempted home invasion early Friday morning. Police were responding to the victim's home when officers say they were flagged down by a wounded 17-year-old male near the intersection of 11th and Chew Avenue. The teen told police that he was shot in the wrist and buttocks while walking down the street. Police found no evidence of a shooting in the immediate area. He was transported to a nearby hospital, and his condition was unknown as of this report. Through an investigation, police discovered the teenager and another man attempted to kick in the door of a 31-year-old man's house. The homeowner opened fire on the suspects, striking the 17-year-old. Police say the teen was arrested for his part in the attempted home invasions. Authorities are still searching for the teen's suspected accomplice. Officials have not released information as to whether the intruders were carrying any weapons, which obviously will make a huge difference in this case. Comments here. This is another of the 300 or so incidents each week where an armed resident is able to defend himself and his family in having the tools and skill necessary to defend his home. The interesting issue is one bullet striking the perp in the butt. In armed confrontations, two things always happen at once. The shooter, seeing the threat, points his firearm and starts to fire. The perp sees the firearm coming up to bear and starts to turn away. That is often a move to start running away. Other times it's the schoolyard fight instinct of turning away because you don't want to get hit in the face. In either scenario, the perp gets hit in the back. Testing shows the average shooter can point and fire a pistol in about half a second. The shootee, with additional panic, can turn completely around in a bit less than that. Shots fired at his front often hit his side or even completely in the back. The age and agility of the shooter versus the shootee make for a lot of possible outcomes. I have been involved in a lot of cases where this was the issue, and the studies that come out of Force Science, where I took their actually second class they ever taught years ago, continue to add to this data with speed and agility and age and reaction time of the players. Huge variables, but it is not unusual at all when you fire at a home invader or an antagonist on the street, that when you fire, you're looking at him. When he turns, he can turn faster than you can pull the trigger, and you hit him in the back, and then you end up with this situation. So that's part of don't make statements until your lawyer gets there, and have your lawyer call me, and we'll go from there. This next story comes from the Sun-Times Media, reporting August 18, 2020 in Chicago, Illinois. A 24-year-old was shot and returned fire Sunday in the Belmont-Cragen area on the northwest side of Chicago. Chicago police say that just after 2 in the afternoon, a 24-year-old was inside a vehicle parked on the street in the 5400 block of West Wrightwood Avenue. That's when a pedestrian walked up to his vehicle, pulled out a gun, and fired shots, striking the occupant in the right shoulder. The motive for this attack, whether it's robbery, car theft, a random shooting, is unknown. As of the time I got this information, they have no idea why. The man in the vehicle pulled out his own weapon and returned shots, striking the initial shooter in the torso. He's also 24 years old. Both men were taken to the Illinois Masonic Medical Center in serious condition. Area 5 detectives are investigating the case. The victim has a valid firearms owner identification card, which is issued by the Illinois State Police to any qualified applicant. Background checks, right? He also has a valid Illinois concealed carry license, which requires a 2-day course by licensed program taught by a licensed police instructor. Comments here, just another Chicago shooting. In this incident, the original victim had all the licenses necessary to be allowed to defend himself from attack. Both participants here are racial minorities who have clearly chosen different paths in society. Statistically, this is more minority on minority crime, or what they would call black on black crime. The honest citizens go through all the requirements. It actually took me an hour just to read all the regulations in Chicago to carry a gun that I could find online. With more young men like this good citizen, if the Chicago mayor will start putting criminals in jail, even Chicago could become civilized. I hope. Now we go to a story from the New York Post, which is on top of everybody's list at the moment. The reporter here is named Lee Brown, reported August 25th, 2020 in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This story is all over the news. A few armed citizens defended a Kenosha gas station from arsonists. Video evidence provided by the Daily Caller reporter, his name is Shelley Talcott. When you pull this up, you'll see the video that he took, which really helps understand the situation. Some residents were harassed by the crowd for protecting a local business, not their own business, amid the Jacob Blake protests. That's a young man who was killed by police, I believe. A small group of heavily armed citizens protected the gas station from being torched following the police shooting of this Jacob Blake. They implored rioters not to F up their own neighborhood. We're out here trying to protect residents. We're trying to protect innocent people, and we're trying to protect the businesses of the citizens. I'm on your side. You can't burn down your local businesses, shouted one of the three men carrying high-powered rifles and wearing helmets and protective clothing, one in full military camouflage. They were heckled by a group of at least a dozen people just outside of the perimeter. The man insisted they were not affiliated with a militia organization or connected in any way to the gas station. They feared a really bad outcome if it was targeted by arsonists running rampant in the city. They're destroying their own neighborhood, one of the men said, in the 2 nights of riots after police shooting of the 21-year-old minority rioter, Jacob Blake. Kenosha Police Chief Daniel Miskinis confirmed a 17-year-old Antioch, Illinois resident had been charged in the shooting incident and that the man was involved in the use of firearms to resolve whatever conflict was in place. Here we go. Comments. Armed citizens step in where police are forced out. that disband police philosophy carried out to its natural conclusion, with law enforcement unable or unwilling to respond to emergency calls for help, it's clearly up to the people to defend themselves, unless the left side governors, county commissioners, and mayors rethink their priorities. The criminal violence will continue to escalate. Note to my viewers, if you vote to defend yourself before you vote, I'm going to get this right. I took 10 minutes writing this. Use your vote to defend yourself before you have to use your firearm to defend your family. Now, you can check out my recent shows at firedupwithboberwin.com. Oh, I forgot. I got to run a commercial break right now. Then we'll go back to me going away. Hold on, I'll be right back. Attorney Donald J. Green, a common guest of mine on Fired Up. He can be reached at 702-409-8239. He specializes in gun case litigation. He is your man, Don Green, 702-409-8239. And Battlefield Vegas, my new kind of home for this show. They're on Circus Drive, directly behind the Circus Hotel and Casino. You can find them there with CCW classes and an amazing place for gun rentals, everything you could possibly imagine. Check out, if you're in town as a tourist, check out battlefieldvegas.com. This is a reminder to all our listeners. Keystone Corporation, it's a conservative organization that I'm on their board of directors, is having their annual dinner on Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. The featured speaker is Karl Rove. It is at the Venetian Hotel. For information, you can visit online to www.keystonenevada.com and get all the information. Tables are available for groups, and Karl Rove is an amazing commentator. You don't want to miss this. It is going to be the conservative event of the year. Okay, before prematurely starting my closing, I forgot to do my own commercial. I have a new book. It is called Self-Defense with Firearms, Use of Force in Nevada. It is going to be shortly available on the internet through Amazon as a book you can buy online. A copy for a Kindle, Amazon Kindle. They also, I understand, do their own hard copies if you prefer to do that. I believe they're going to be about $4.95 initially for the Kindle version. Anyway, it is available out there. This is the replacement to my book from several years ago, The Reality of Armed Self-Defense, which most of my listeners have a copy. We still have maybe a dozen of these I'll get through with at the gun shows when we have gun shows again here in Las Vegas, all of which are, again, postponed until November, I think, now. But anyway, you can find this on Amazon Kindle, and I would appreciate if you would take a look at it and buy one. I understand they're going to make a hard copy also that they do automatically if you order one. I don't know the price on those as yet, but I'm sure it will be on Amazon's site when you look it up. Author Bob Irwin and by the title, and you'll be able to find it. They're working on it in the very next room to where I am right now to get it up online. Now, I will tell you that you can check out my recent shows at firedupwithboberwin.com. It contains several dozen episodes. Please patronize our friends and supporters. I'll be back next Thursday on my website, firedupwithboberwin.com, the American Guns and Glory Network, numerous other websites, television, and radio stations. When watching any media, just click on the word subscribe and new shows will be sent to your phone or computer automatically. We have about 3,400 or so people following us now. My logo merchandise, hats and shirts and books are available at Battlefield Vegas. That is a range and unbelievable adult amusement park just behind Circus on the Las Vegas Strip. If you're ever in Las Vegas, Battlefield Vegas is a must-see attraction. You can actually shoot a minigun or any of hundreds and hundreds of firearms. You can even crush a car with an Abrams tank at their outdoor facility. They provide transportation for that. You can contact them at info@battlefieldvegas.com. info@battlefieldvegas.com. Thanks for watching Fired Up. I'll be back next week with more stuff. Stay safe. Keep your guns.